What is up, y'all? Kevin Kuhn here from the Athlete Factors podcast. I'm here with my friend Jessica. This is episode number 9. Jessica, how you doing today?
Good.
Awesome. So we tried doing this yesterday and had some technical difficulties, but here we are, figuring it out, getting it done. So, we're just going to start over and pretend like we haven't talked in a long, long time. And, it's going to be awesome. So first and foremost, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what it is that you do. Spoiler alert, she's a dietitian, y'all. And let's talk about that for a little bit.
Okay. So, long story. I am a dietitian. I am in the sports world, exercise world. I have a lot of fitness certifications. I do a focus on fitness, weight management. I've also done diabetes education. So mainly focused in that area. I grew up being very active, did a lot of different sports. I figured out I only liked a few. Because I'm kind of girly. So my biggest thing I did growing up was dancing. I did do cheerleading in high school, but competitive dance, classical dance was kind of my main focus. I did also do volleyball in high school, so I was very active. And at that point, I started figuring out how food affected me and was really interested in that. What foods made me feel good, what made me dance better, what made me run better, exercise better. And so developed a passion for nutrition very early on. I applied to Texas Tech University, and that's the only one I applied for because they had an awesome nutrition program. So I went there, got my bachelor's in nutritional science, and also a minor in restaurant hotel management and exercise science. After that, you are required if you want to be a dietitian with coming out of your bachelor's with nutrition, you have to do a supervised practical internship. So there's different versions, there's different specialties with that. The one I wanted to get into was focused on sports dietetics, but because I thought that that's the way I wanted to go, and still very passionate about it, but did not get in there as it is a matching program. I got into the UT School of Public Health in Houston, and that's a 2-year internship and master's program. So there I got my master's in public health with an emphasis on health promotion and behavioral science. There I developed some interest for things that I didn't know I could be interested in because it is the public health world. I had never really been in that world. But we did gardening in schools with elementary school age kids and taught them how to cook and use the gardening within their curriculum. And this was in the low socioeconomic areas of Houston. So these kids don't get to see that hardly at all. So I also worked at a diabetes camp. So I became really interested in diabetes education. And right after my master's program and internship, I moved to San Antonio and started working in diabetes education. I got my certification for diabetes education, which is called a CDE, and I did that for about 4 years in San Antonio. Then we had started having kids, and I have 2 kids now, and shortly after had the first kid, stopped working full-time and created my private practice, which is Honest Nutrition, and I just use it to do consulting based on my schedule. I also do some part-time work at a gym locally, a small, it's not a franchise, just a local gym in Castroville, which is where we live. And I created a nutrition program there to help bridge that gap of people wanting to meet their goals within the fitness world. So that was kind of my re-entry there.
Nice.
And I still do that. And then I also added on another job, which is being the director of a ballet school in
Nice.
Castro, and that's in the works.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So it's safe to say that you've got a full plate.
Yeah, kind of.
That's good. I feel like the more you have to do, like the more work you can take on, the more you can find like meaning and enjoyment in your life. Like if you're sitting around not doing a whole lot, then it's really easy to like you're like, man, what am I doing with my life? This is pointless. But if you're staying busy with things that you enjoy and that bring you like, you know, some meaning, then like you're not worried about,
I think,
how life's going. Yeah.
Yeah,
just
that's
plugging away.
a big deal. I think nobody should ever lay down. They should always have something working towards, because you never know what you're going to come across.
Yeah,
I
except for
never
naps.
in a million years thought I would be getting back into dance and being a dance teacher.
For sure.
But I've always had a passion for it. Actually, I don't know if it was in high school or college. I remember writing a paper and it asked you about your goals. What are your life goals basically for your career? I wanted to be a nutritionist or a dietitian for one of the big ballet companies.
Nice.
And so, and then I also wanted to write. I'm really into writing articles. So another goal of mine is to get a blog started.
Well, you should do that.
In my free time.
Yeah. Start now.
Yeah.
Why not? No time like the present.
Yeah.
So we met back in the summer of 2008. So we were both in between our junior and senior years of college, correct?
Right.
I think just about everybody else was older than us. But we interned together at the Cooper Aerobics Center in Dallas, Texas, and one of the best summers of my life. I had a great time learning a whole bunch of stuff and hanging out with an awesome group of people who are all doing some pretty amazing things now. So yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That was an awesome summer. Got to learn a lot of different areas in wellness.
Yeah, I wish that I had been able to do a little bit more work shadowing the dietitians there. I think you got to do a little bit of that, right?
Yeah. I think me and maybe one other person were the only two that got to go do that.
Yeah.
I think it would have been good for everybody to see.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there was so much going on. Amazing trainers there, amazing people to like shadow. I think we all got to spend like a week rotation at the clinic in a week, kind of like in the different areas. We all got to do a certification through the Cooper Institute. Yeah, that was so fun. So.
Yeah. Actually, they asked me to come back up there, I think it was 2 years ago, and be on the board for writing the next version of the CPT exam.
Nice.
So I got to that was a really cool experience. I got to sit in and see how they came up with all the questions. And I was the only one. I don't know, there's probably 20 people in there of different backgrounds. I was the only dietitian for one, but I was the only one. I brought like a suitcase full of books. That tells you how big of a nerd I am. Because I was like, I'm gonna be prepared. I'm gonna have my research. I'm gonna have my references.
Yeah, that's good. Was it the one on wheels that you like drug behind you, or did you like carry it?
No, I carried it.
Wow. Okay, well that's commitment.
Wasn't too far of a hike. They let me stay at the hotel there.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, it was amazing.
Living it up.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. So, yeah, so you finished up, did all that, moved to San Antonio area, got your own practice now. So let's dig into to some other stuff because that kind of catches us up to where we're at right now. So, what are some things that you like, and what are some things that you dislike about the dietetics profession?
Okay, so I'm going to start with what I like because there's so much more what I like than what I dislike. I respect the fact that I'm a dietitian. I think it's the highest level that you can get to in this area. But that you don't stop there. There's so much more to learn and grow, specialize in. So let's see. The governing organization of the dietitians is the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. And so we learn a lot of the rules and regulations in our bachelor's program. We use it as a reference. They provide tons of evidence, up-to-date, ongoing research. They provide a monthly newsletter so that we can stay up to date, a daily email. They give us so much support that we need in this world of constantly changing information. The other thing I do like and respect is that we must abide by a list of ethics. And every year we have to review that. We have to take a test on it, actually, so that we can understand what our boundaries are and scope of practice. And, if we should report some area of our practice, somebody's not doing something right. So I love rules. That sounds weird, but I feel like it helps us with those boundaries. The other thing is, I think we have trouble communicating as dietitians. I think we have trouble communicating how much we do understand that the information is always changing. The media, when they come out with new stories, it's very frustrating because they portray it as, oh, this is a new discovery. Coffee is good for you, or coffee is bad for you. And then they look at us like, well, y'all don't know what you're talking about. Because listen to the news. They just said it. Well, so that's frustrating. But if you can actually do something like this where I'm speaking to you in person, we're on the internet, it's available for everybody to listen to, then that helps get the word out there. They just have to seek the right information because a lot of people are seeking information from social media or the girl that looks good in her bathing suit with huge muscles. Or one thing I dislike about my profession is that some things that I believe in, some things that I use for counseling clients or patients, they're frowned upon by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. And that can be frustrating because you see results in that person and you see relief from years of pain and digestive issues, chronic disease symptoms. They're all relieved with maybe one little tweak of their diet. But our governing body says that there's not enough research to support that claim and that we cannot recommend it as a whole.
Wow.
So, especially with food intolerances and food allergies, it's a huge thing right now. Also, gut health, like balancing good bacteria, getting rid of bad bacteria. A lot of those things are kind of a controversial topic. Also, the keto diet. There's some dietitians that are recommending it, and that's hard. And they're recommending it to a general population, and it's not meant for a general population at all.
Yeah, I think specifically with things like that where the exception to the rule is now being applied as the rule.
Right.
Instead of viewing specific supplements or specific dietary practices or specific diets in general, instead of viewing those as tools to use to address a specific job or to address a specific issue, the idea is, okay, well, now I'm going to get behind this thing because I either think everyone should be doing it, or because I know there's money behind it.
Right.
And then they're just pushing that, and just with a broad brush or with a wide brush stroke, they're saying, hey, everybody needs to do this, or
Yes.
the exact opposite, nobody should eat this, nobody should do this. And it's like,
Yeah.
man, is it not 2019? Can we not have some nuance here? Like, are we still stuck in this like false dichotomy where everything has to be either this or that?
Yep.
So
I know.
That's got to be frustrating.
It is, and I have to defend myself a lot, but and then there's some people that come into my office and they want to tell me how great the ketogenic diet is and how much success it has brought that person. So that person already has their mind made up. And no matter how much research, any information I give that person regarding the risks associated with it, they're going to block it out. They're going to get defensive.
Yeah.
So until that wall is brought down, I can't get through to that person.
Yeah. It can't be like, if they're so emotionally involved or attached to it, then yeah, I'm sure it's got to be pretty tough. Like, for some people, they just see the transformation that another person has made, and they're like, oh, well, if they did it,
yes,
then that must be the best way to lose weight. Therefore, I want to do that.
Right.
Even though I'm not really that big a fan of a high-fat diet, and I actually love carbs. But like, right. Sure, I'm gonna be successful on this.
Yes.
Like,
I've had people just come in and they're like, I love pasta. And I'm like, well, what's wrong with pasta?
Yeah.
Well, it's bad for you. It's the devil.
It's carbs. Yeah.
Carbs are the devil.
Can't have that.
Oh my gosh. Poor thing. They're so unhappy because they can't have their pasta.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's one of the funny things when I'm working with like an athlete or a client on aspects of their diet that that I can help them with. I'll often say like, hey, like maybe avoiding entire food groups is a bad idea. Like, maybe we should think about things like think about this, okay?
Yeah.
Don't think about a white elephant.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about? And they're like, a white elephant? I'm like, exactly. So if you tell your body, if you say, hey, you can't have carbs, the body tends to like fixate on what you tell it can't have.
Oh yeah.
The mind's really good at that. So
yes.
If you want to set yourself up for failure, then avoid entire food groups altogether, or say, hey, I cannot eat this specific type of food. And the body it doesn't usually play along. No. So instead of doing that, maybe set up something that you can do long term. Maybe. Right. I don't know.
Yes. That's such a good analogy, the white elephant.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's kind of where my scope of practice ends as far as what I can do to help out my clients, because I'm not a dietitian. So,
get athletes, especially young athletes, coming in and they say that they're avoiding carbohydrates?
Not usually. Usually what I get is athletes who are either trying to increase muscle mass or trying to lose a little bit of weight. Mm-hmm. And most of them just they don't know what the macronutrients are, or they don't know how to prioritize specific things in their diet. They just are eating whatever is put on their plate or whatever they get from the school cafeteria,
Right.
or they just don't have any frame of reference to keep track of anything. They're not tracking their calories. They're not doing any of that. So most of the time, it's just if they're really young, then I don't even usually bring up the idea of tracking. I'll just say, hey, here's some priorities I want you to focus on. Like when you eat, maybe try to focus on eating something that is higher in protein. Like focus on getting that in first. Like
Right.
that's your priority number one. And here's your priority list. Stick to this. But with kids, kind of once they get to high school, I think in general, again, case by case scenario, but in general, I like to start teaching them a little bit more about like, okay, what is a calorie? Like, if they've got a summer job and they're making money, then I'm like, okay, then you understand how currency works. Then you understand how kind of a calorie will work within the body. So
Right.
I like to, use the budgetary analogy to explain calories, and then just a basic description of the function of the macronutrients. Like, why is protein so important? If you want to recover, if you want to adapt, if you want to stimulate the synthesis of new muscle protein to repair the damage that you're accumulating from training, then protein's really important. All your hormones, especially your sex hormones, are built on a cholesterol backbone. If you're on a low-fat diet, guess what? No testosterone, no estrogen, no cortisol, no growth hormone. These are kind of important. And then if you want your body to function like a high performance race car, then you need high intensity fuel, and that's where your carbohydrates come from. And so you need all of them. They're all important.
Right.
But it's figuring out you know, a structure that works for you,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not overly tyrannical and strict.
Right.
So much that you either won't be successful on it, or it's too flexible and then there's no consistency. So
Right.
that's essentially how I set it up. And
I find that very common. That is a struggle with talking to not just athletes or advanced exercisers, just your general person. How much freedom do they need? Because you don't want them to be so strict that they are cutting out food groups or nutrient dense foods that they need, and then they actually crave.
right.
Because the more strict they are, the more, I would say, the more binging that they're more likely to do
Yeah.
when the craving hits.
Yep. Once they fall off hard.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, why should I, like, I already messed up today. Why should I get back on? I'm just going to enjoy the rest of the day, and then maybe tomorrow, and then maybe the whole weekend. And then,
Right.
yeah, it's like, instead of saying, hey, maybe ice cream is okay as long as you're working it into, your calorie goal and your carbohydrate and maybe your fat goal. Just, that's okay. That's fine. You can have that.
Yes.
Maybe don't have the entire carton,
Yeah.
So moderation is key.
Right.
So, but I think that helps it keeps you sane. It keeps you enjoying what you're eating. And like a lot of what I try to do is make sure that I'm not damaging someone's relationship with food.
Oh, yes.
By being too tyrannical.
Right.
So
I think that's a big thing with athletes, and
mm-hmm.
It always has been and especially with certain ones that are watching their weight, or they have to hit a certain weight class.
Yep.
Or they have to be lifted in the air. Super conscious about their weight and their body composition. So disordered eating is a big deal, and I think people aren't talking about it enough. Because, and another thing in that is, in our social media world, the kids are becoming less vocal, and I feel like that's only hurting them in this part, that they need to speak up when they are having trouble about certain issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I bet you're right with regards to that. Like, I'm sure the more you see people who are succeeding on Instagram and on Facebook, I'm sure the harder it is for you to admit that you're not.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's big. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't have any pictures of myself succeeding. So, I must not be doing a good job.
So
One day.
I'm not, yeah, I can't post a selfie. It's really hard for me to do that.
Same. I don't do
It's
that.
more my kids and their accomplishments.
That's good. It's probably healthier. It's probably better
Yeah.
for everyone, for society in general too. So, but yeah. So, what would you consider like, if you have like a philosophy or an ideology with regards to dietetics? Like, what do you kind of consider your philosophy?
My philosophy, meaning like with my practice or kind of what I'm focused on,
Yeah,
or
I
just
mean,
the
yeah.
dietetics world in general.
Yeah, let's do both. Let's start out with like dietetics in general. Like, what do you think your role as a dietitian is, and where do you, I guess, like as far as your philosophy goes, do you what do you think the most important things are for the dietitian to convey to the general public or to um, your clients specifically?
Yeah. Okay. So I my mind has been changed over the past 15 years about nutrition.
Good.
Several
That's a
bits
good
different
thing.
times. It's gone up and down. It's been confused. Um, I will say that. Even dietitians get confused when we see crazy claims in the media. But I created Honest Nutrition so that I can communicate honesty based on research. And if I don't know the answer, I'm not going to pretend I know the answer.
Mm.
I will, if it's on a special topic or a special medical issue, I will refer that person to another dietitian who specializes in that area.
Mm-hmm.
So, setting my pride aside and knowing that I don't know it all, I think that's one of my strengths. I always want to communicate the basics to anybody first. I need to know that they have an understanding of basic nutrition, no matter what they're coming to see me for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not really that complicated, really.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things I want people to understand is that nutrition, the science of food, for the general public is not that complicated. Now, if they have a special medical condition, yeah, it can be a learning curve. It can take a lot of effort into changing their ways. But dietitians are the experts in nutrition, and they're the best people to go to get that information. And the other thing is that it's not just a one-time visit. Dietitians follow you. They give you goals. They give you accountability. They're going to check in on you and make sure you're doing okay, you're following the plan. If there's any problems or bumps in the road, they can help you get over that or find a different way. So when you say consistency is key, it really is with working with dietitians and understanding nutrition. It's not a one time, it's not an overnight success. You have to keep working on it. And it's a lifelong progress.
Yeah.
Because different things are going to pop up along the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think one of the things that you mentioned earlier about your internship and master's was a lot of it was in like behavioral modification, behavioral science. So like I think a lot of people don't understand how important it is. Like when you change your diet, you're making a behavioral change, and
Yes.
when it's not enough to just say, oh, I'm going to eat less so that I lose weight, or I'm going to eat, like SNL did this huge funny skit way back in the day, and the whole idea was like eat less, move more. Like that was the diet. Like you want to lose weight, eat less, move more. Like, yeah, that's hilarious because it's so simple, and yeah, that's honestly helpful for a lot of people to hear, and if they would just apply that. But you're changing your behavior to do that, and that can be really, really difficult to do if you're just gonna try to make changes on your own. Like, you need accountability. You need someone to tell you whether you're doing something that is too structured, and you're probably gonna not be able to maintain it. You need someone to tell you, like, what are the steps to achieving a new habit, or achieving a change in your behavior that is a healthy change, that will help you long term. And so I think there are definitely people out there who are doing their best to be helpful, let's say on Instagram, who they themselves have lost a lot of weight. And the way that they did it was they just figured it out on their own, or so they say. And they're now trying to help tons of other people by just disseminating the information that they figured out on their own. And like, I understand, like, the intention might be good.
Yes. Yeah.
But they don't have the knowledge and experience that you have as a dietitian. And so there's got to be like I know where my scope of practice ends, and when somebody is asking me about how to not just change body composition or improve their athletic performance or to lose weight, like, that's kind of my scope. If it's outside of that, then that's not my job, right? And so if you're an influencer on Instagram and saying, hey, this is the diet everyone needs to eat because it will improve your health, and it cures cancer, and it does this, and it's like, maybe you shouldn't make claims like that. And when I say maybe, I mean definitely do not make claims like that, because that is you will end up hurting people.
Yeah. Yes.
So
that's one of the that's huge for me, and that's one of the most frustrating things, and that's another reason why I named it Honest Nutrition, and trying to get the word out there that dietitians are the nutrition experts, and those are the people you should go to, not the social media influencers. And like you said, they mean well. They want to influence, but they don't have that medical nutrition therapy background. They're not asking these people if they have chronic conditions. They're not asking these people if they have a family history. They don't know what to do when this person's blood sugar goes low and how to treat it. It's like you said, they can hurt someone. And I was going to say, what was it? There's this really big social media influencer, and she's a health coach. And she came across her own journey, and then she became a very well-known health coach. And she's very successful at helping people and encouraging people. But she does put claims on there saying that the intermittent fasting is what everyone should be doing. Like, she literally put that on there.
Yeah.
And that you should not eat carbohydrates at night.
Why not?
We don't know if that person's going to exercise at night. That might be the only time they go exercise. Do they need carbs? Yep. So that's frustrating, and her body looks amazing. So when you see things like that, and you get sucked in because you're like, well, I want to look like that.
Yeah.
You're vulnerable.
Yes.
So you start believing what she says.
Yeah.
And that's so hard. So, and as dietitians, we can't go on the internet and bash these people and put them down, because that doesn't,
That
it
doesn't
doesn't
help
get the
anyone.
point across. It doesn't help.
Yeah.
The only thing we can do is set ourselves apart with the background that we have, the experience that we have, the license and registration we have, just like a medical doctor. That's really the only thing we can do, is really build our reputation
Yeah.
and protect it as well.
Yeah, there are no consequences for an influencer if they say something and the result ends up very, very bad.
Yep.
But if, as a dietitian, like, you've got skin in the game, if you start making claims that are like obviously going to hurt people, and then people are hurt, like, guess what? You don't get to be a dietitian anymore. Yeah. So that's a good thing. That regulates what you guys can do and say, and that's a good thing, and that should that should influence people to not listen so much to the influencers.
I know.
In an ideal world, but
it's hard, and we don't post selfies of we don't post pictures of ourselves in our bra and underwear with rock hard abs, because I'm sure if we did, we would get a lot more followers and listening to what we had to say.
Yeah.
I was talking to a trainer at our gym that I work at, and we were kind of brainstorming. We run a program occasionally, accountability program, and they do the weight training part, I do the nutrition part, and we didn't get a lot of traffic. So we were just trying to figure out, well, what can we do to make this more attractive to people? Mm-hmm. And I said, it has to be sexy.
It sells.
Yeah, it's very hard in this world of all these sexy pictures and they're selling nutrition programs.
Yep.
But I'm not going to do that. I'm not that honest.
You're honest, but you're not that honest.
I'm not that honest with pictures of myself.
That's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mom told me back in high school, Kevin, modest is hottest. And I've tried to remember that throughout my adult life. Yes.
Why did she say that?
Because she was just letting me know, like, there's a certain quality of girl that you probably want to go after, and they're probably modest.
Right.
If they're advertising the goods freely, then they're probably not the one you want to bring home.
A good choice. Yeah.
So
don't bring her home to mama.
Exactly. That's essentially what she was saying, I think.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. I might have to use that.
Yep.
When my son gets older.
There you go. So, yeah, somewhat related to this, I just kind of thought of it, like, making these just broad claims. Everybody needs to eat this way. Everyone needs to intermittent fast. Everybody, like, okay, well, what if someone comes to an influencer, let's say, and that influencer is saying keto is the way to go. And the person's like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to eat keto. By the way, I have Crohn's. Like, high-fat diet and Crohn's do not pair well together. So, like, I'm not a dietitian, but I know that.
Right.
So, but, like, these people, they don't know what they don't know. And so that's why it's like scary to me when I see all these claims, like, everyone should do this, everyone should do that. Like, there's a whole lot of different kinds of people out there with very unique issues.
Yeah.
We're very diverse. We shouldn't all be eating the same way.
Right. No.
So.
And half the time, that person that has Crohn's may not even disclose that information until they have a problem.
Wow.
Flare up.
Yeah. Because they weren't asked.
Right. They weren't asked. Nope. And that's big with the nutrition programs that are being sold online, and there's no interaction between the coach and the client.
Yeah.
It's just an online nutrition program.
Yeah, it's just a template. Yep. Here's what you need to eat. Yeah, it's a shame, really, is what it is. We should know better. And some of us do, and some of us don't. And that's
right.
That's life, I guess.
And these are all topics that I feel like when I do start a blog, that's probably what it's going to be based on, is these situations. Like just like the one you just mentioned. There's a really good website, and she does do social media. It's a dietitian, and her business is called Nutrition Stripped. And that's kind of her thing, is she's trying to put the truth out there about trending nutrition topics. I like it a lot. Yeah, I repost a lot of her stuff.
Gotcha.
Online.
All right, I'm gonna have to check that out. Nutrition Stripped.
Yep.
Gotcha. I think I just saw a post you put up the other day that was about it was like detoxing from detoxes, and I was like, okay, yeah. Because I wrote a blog article like 2012, like it was so long ago. But I put it was one of the first articles that I put up on my new Athlete Factors website, because it was all about like, should you be detoxing? And I was like, the liver's really good at it. Maybe you don't need to be doing detoxes. And if the whole point is like, oh, sugar's so bad for you, then why are you just eating, or not eating, why are you just drinking fruit juice? Right. It's just sugar. Like, what is the point here? Like, yeah, you're going to lose some weight because you're not eating any calories, like super low calorie. And
did you know that you're losing muscle mass?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like you need protein.
Yeah.
Like the nitrogen and the sulfur are a necessary part of the body's natural way of detoxing itself. Yeah. And like, you're not going to eat any protein, but you're going to hope that the body's doing its job. Like, come on.
Do you remember when Dr. Oz became kind of big and famous with his TV show? Yeah, that's one of the first times I guess I realized that people were making a big deal out of it, when he started talking about foods that detox, or how to detox your body with certain drinks or smoothies.
Yeah.
And I got so many questions about it, and it became a joke with dietitians that, Dr. Oz wants you to detox with this drink.
Yes.
Charcoal.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's what filters your water. If you've got a water filter, so why wouldn't it be good for the rest of your body?
No.
It's
funny to me, but and I reposted that post. That was from another dietitian friend of mine, and she's kind of into holistic nutrition. She's a certified LEAP therapist, so she does a lot of therapy for nutrition. Food intolerances and food allergies. She's very interesting. And she kind of has that little kind of smart aleck little, tone, because it's funny. I mean, people actually believe this.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I can't wait to see more of it.
Yeah.
One of the things when it started to get popular, the whole idea of detoxing, I remember, I think it was Lane Norton, he's a natural pro bodybuilder and natural powerlifter, raw powerlifter, something like that. The dude is extremely smart, PhD in nutritional sciences. And he was saying, when somebody makes a claim that this specific product will detox in some way, he said, ask them what the toxin is. Name it. Give me a name. What is the toxin? Because if you're saying that it's detoxing the body, then you better be able to specifically say what the toxin is, because otherwise, what are you detoxing?
Right. What is being removed from the body?
Yeah. What are you removing? What toxin are you removing?
Yeah.
They don't know.
Nope.
They can't, there's no answer. So it's like, okay, well, all right, then, yeah, then I guess it's not detoxing anything.
Yeah. I had a conversation with someone the other day, and they were telling me about those patches that you stick on your body that detox you.
Yeah.
I think she said she sticks it on her feet.
Yeah. And they like turn black or something.
Pulls everything out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, what is it pulling out?
The toxin.
Your feet. The toxins. Stuff that makes you feel bad.
Ah.
Okay, well, what's in the patch that makes it pull the toxins out through your feet?
Yeah. Is it magnets? Is it?
She's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that'd probably be good to find out.
Yeah, but you don't have to. You don't have to know. You just have to believe, and then it'll work.
Right, and that works with anything.
Yeah.
You believe in yourself that you can go eat some broccoli, then it'll work. You could do it.
That's the truth. So, what do you see are like the most prominent issues like on a daily basis? Like, what are the biggest problems you see as far as, and this can be like in general or specifically with your clients, like what are the biggest diet related issues?
Ooh, there's a lot. Diet related issues. So definitely I would say my number one right now is carbohydrate phobia. That's a big one. Alcohol intake. People and getting people to understand that alcohol still has calories, and the way that it's metabolized within the body, and if they have certain goals, exercise goals, athletic goals, they want to do an event, or body composition, they want to lose fat, and maintain muscle. Their alcohol intake has to be evaluated. And if they're drinking every day, if they're binge drinking every single weekend, that's a problem. And that doesn't get discussed as much as it should, I feel like.
Yeah. I didn't know anything about the metabolic side until grad school.
Yeah.
In our neuromuscular physiology class, our teacher was talking about how alcohol in the bloodstream extends the length of time that cortisol is active. And so, yeah, if you're trying to improve your body composition, then you probably don't want cortisol hanging around, just breaking down muscle tissue and upregulating fat storage. Like, that's probably not what you want. You probably want the opposite of that. So, yeah, but that doesn't mean you can't have a beer. It doesn't mean you shouldn't ever. It's like, but maybe binge drinking the whole weekend. You're not going to reach your goals.
Right. So. Yeah, that's a big one. And that's a big thing with communicating it, is we're not saying that you can't have it, saying that you've got to watch how much you have and how often. And also just simply paying attention to your body. Go a whole week without drinking alcohol and see how you feel at the gym, or see how you feel during your work day. Are you more productive? Do you have more energy? Do you sleep better? You just have to. I always ask my clients to keep a journal. Write down everything, and it's really hard. It takes a lot of time and effort, but if you do it for 7 days and just write down how you're feeling and everything you're ingesting, and just paying attention to your body's cues, it makes a big difference for them to open up their eyes. What else is a big thing? BCAAs. So
I'm excited to hear this because yes.
When that first came out as being like a trendy supplement, I mean, what was that, 2 years ago or 3? I don't know.
BCAAs have been around forever.
They've been around for a while, but it seems like more people, just general people, not athletes, are taking them, and they're being promoted as a miracle supplement.
Yeah.
Must gain.
Yeah.
So I was like, what? Branched chain amino acids? Yeah, well, are you eating meat? How much? Well, probably, 100 gram, 3-4 servings a day of some sort of animal protein. Well, you're getting more than enough.
Yeah.
BCAAs.
Exactly. Yes.
So I don't see any reason why you should take a supplement if your diet is adequate in the types of proteins your body needs. And
that right there is the nuance that people don't hear or understand, is if you're getting enough protein. Right. So for individuals, especially athletes, like, I found protein supplements or sometimes BCAAs to be an effective tool for people who I know are chronically under on protein intake.
Yep.
I'm like, all right, so it can be appropriate for them. But for most people, I don't want them supplementing with BCAAs because, like, there was a study not too long ago. I don't know if it was published or not. It may have been just a kind of a pilot study or whatever. But it showed that there's more calories per gram in BCAAs than in regular protein. It's like 5 or 6 calories per gram. So the whole idea behind BCAAs was it's a non-calorie anabolic muscle protein synthesis stimulating, potent effect. But no, like, just eat protein, and if you can't, then maybe there's these other things that can help. But yeah, they're putting BCAAs in energy drinks, but it's like you're not getting any sort of anabolic effect until you get like leucine up around 3 grams plus anyway. And so if you're ingesting 1 gram of BCAAs, there's no point.
You're wasting your money.
Yes. Yeah. You're making expensive pee.
Yes, exactly. That's why they're called supplements.
Yes. They fill in gaps.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, not replace your diet. Just to reinforce, supplement.
Yes.
So, yeah, BCAAs, that did take a huge. What was crazy is I saw guys in the research field that I respected immensely who were just like, BCAAs are the biggest waste of your money. And I'm like, I know what you're trying to say. I know what you're trying to say to everyone is focus on protein.
Right.
But I work with a ton of endurance athletes who just don't get enough protein.
Right. They're long distance.
Yeah, for them.
Yeah.
If they don't get a protein supplement or some BCAAs, then their nitrogen balance is going to be like so poor. They're not going to adapt. They're not going to repair. Their immune system is going to take a hit. Like, so I understand.
Yes.
Everyone's goal should be to focus on getting a certain amount of protein in their diet. So, but when I saw just these guys who I thought were so nuanced in the way that they explain things, to just be like, BCAAs, I just saw something on Instagram. It was a picture of a guy saying the best way to use BCAAs. It was like these little comic drawing things. It was like, take your BCAAs, open it up, walk to your trash can, dump the whole thing in. And I'm like, I get it. They're not great, but they still serve a purpose.
They're not for everybody.
Yes.
They are for a select population, depending on their activity.
Yes.
I mean, and they're
Yeah. So, but no, that's to see BCAAs in everything. I'm just like, come on.
Yes. It's marketing.
They're cheap. The cheap supplement that you can add to anything and then increase the price on. So,
yes.
Yeah, that's got to be fun to see everywhere.
Yes. I mean, especially I don't work with a whole lot of athletes. It's just your general exercisers. So do they need it? Probably not.
Probably not. Probably not.
We've got cyclists, marathon runners, the weekend warriors that are doing events, long distance events. Yeah, maybe they need it.
Yeah.
It depends. I have to talk to that person one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
Figure that out and to help that person.
Yep.
Another big thing is water. People are not drinking enough water. They're looking.
Did I hear your dog drinking water?
Oh yeah,
just now?
yeah.
Perfect timing.
Yeah. Gracie,
Awesome.
good job.
That's incredible.
My husband's gonna get a laugh out of that. It irritates him like nails on a chalkboard when she drinks water.
So loud.
Yeah, she's a big dog. Yeah.
That's hilarious. So, how much water should people be shooting for every day?
There's minimum amounts, and depending on male or female, it used to be average amount was 8 glasses of 8 ounces of water, right? So that's 64 ounces. That's minimum necessary. I think the needs now are 9 cups a day for a woman and 13 cups a day for a male. I always give people kind of like a big goal to shoot for. So I say half of your body weight in ounces.
Gotcha.
And that's a lot of water.
Yep.
But we're in South Texas.
Mm-hmm.
They need that water.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I've had
some kind of ideas on how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Get a bottle, get 4 bottles, get 2 huge bottles. Like you have to finish this by noon. You have to finish this by 6 p.m. And then the rest that you have is extra. And extra's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had, at one point when I was recommending a lot of my clients be on an extremely high protein diet, I was like, okay, if this works for you, like if you want to do this, just make sure that we're also adding in some extra water, just because that's going to help. And at one point, I was setting some pretty lofty goals for my clients, like one ounce per pound daily. Yeah. And a lot of my clients were like, I have to go to the bathroom every 10 minutes.
Yes.
Like, yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're not going to get bladder cancer now.
Yeah.
And now you have an excuse to like get up from your desk and walk around.
Oh, yeah.
And you're probably actually like you're probably able to work harder. You're probably able to focus more when you can get up relatively consistently. Maybe not every 10 minutes. That's probably not so good. But once or twice every hour, it's probably a good idea to like get up and move around and get the blood flowing and just walk a little bit, and then you can come back. You're much more productive. And a lot of them were like, no, that's just too much water. I feel like I'm in the bathroom all day. And I'm like, well, it doesn't bother me if I have to go to the bathroom every 5 minutes.
No.
I don't care. Like,
I mean, you could say, hey, there's your detox.
Exactly.
Working.
Yes, the urea cycle is doing a good job.
Yeah. No, I get that a lot from clients is, well, if I drink more water, I'm going to have to go to the bathroom more often. And I'm like,
that's a bad thing. Like,
yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. You're just going to, really, I'd like to say you're just going to have to get over it.
Yeah. Sometimes you can't say that. Sometimes people need to hear that.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
People. Yeah.
That's too funny. So.
All right. I feel like there's something else that's big and I can't think of it right now. Just things, topics in nutrition that are kind of a controversial issue. The other thing is motivation. I feel like people are trying to get extrinsic motivation from so many other avenues. And And that's not going to, extrinsic motivation is not going to turn into internal motivation.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find it intrinsic first. That's the way I think.
Yeah.
Um, so, but that is a big issue, um, and just practicing like being positive, just finding ways to manage your stress, finding a support system, and just keeping everything positive around you is a better way of finding that motivation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think people actually sabotage themselves sometimes by following these like motivational like figures on Instagram or Facebook where it's just pictures of people with six packs and huge muscles, and like if you're just seeing that every day,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's actually doing
No.
yourself any favors or if you're shooting yourself in the foot, because it's like, okay, look what I'll never be. Look what I'll
Right.
never achieve. For
Yeah.
most people, that's not practical. And the other thing is, having had a little experience talking with figure competitors,
Mm,
they feel awful when they look their quote unquote best. When
yes.
they're stage ready, they are starved to death.
Yes.
They are super unmotivated.
Uh-huh.
they
Burn out.
don't they don't move a whole lot because they don't have the energy to move a whole lot. Like,
They're dehydrated too,
yeah, exactly.
like
Like
a piece of
they're
meat.
yeah, that's pretty much it. Like,
Yeah.
so that's not a healthy way to live. You don't want to look like that. Like,
Uh,
there's things that you can do to help reinforce some sort of external accountability. But I agree totally 100% with you. Like, if you want if you want to change, like, you first have to, it can't be because you want to compare yourself to other people.
right.
Like, it's got to be like, I need to change because, because I don't want to have an extra 20 or 30 or 50 pounds in 10 years. Like,
Right.
I still want to be able to be active with my kids in
Yes.
10 years, 20 years, 30 years. I want to be able to do the things that I like to do now 30 years from now. Like, whatever the case may be, I want to make sure that, my family history, there's a predisposition to this sort of thing. So I know that I need to be as healthy as possible so that I don't go down that road, or
Right.
there's less risk of getting that. So you can't mitigate all risk for things like that, but you can do yourself tons of favors to just get out and be healthy. And related to that is, I do my best to say, hey, if you can't see yourself doing like whatever your plan is, because people come to me all the time, I want to work out 5 times a week, I want to work out 7 days a week, and I'm like, if you don't see yourself being able to maintain that the rest of your life, then it's probably too much. Can you work out 3 days a week this year? And if they're like, yeah, I'm like, okay, well then stay motivated to do that, because that's going to help you out next year.
Right.
But working out 6 days a week for 3 months and then being so burnt out that you don't want to work out for the rest of the year, the next 9 months, that doesn't help you at all. So I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
I agree. It burns you out and your motivation is lacking. And then
Yeah.
also, I mean, you got to change it up for people who do exercise that much. Because I do know some people that exercise that much, and it's kind of like their medication for antidepressant and anti-anxiety medication. They
Yeah.
have to have it, but you gotta coach them into like, do something different.
Mm-hmm.
Go take a hike instead of
Yeah.
doing your weightlifting class, or um, go kayaking. Go do something active but totally different.
Mm-hmm. Variety.
Yes.
Spice of life.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to have it. And the body likes variety. Like, it
Yes.
doesn't like to do the same things over and over and over again.
Right.
It's too good at adapting. So,
Yep.
um,
Same thing with food.
yeah, yes,
Mm-hmm.
which is another topic for another time, but I think we should definitely cover that.
Right.
So, all right, so this is the important one.
Okay.
How do you pick? Yeah, everything we talked about now, really doesn't matter. This is the only thing that matters, okay? How do you find, or how do you pick a good, competent, effective dietitian?
Ooh, okay. So I don't know if you know this, there is a database on the Academy's website, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. You can find, I think it just says find a dietitian, and you search for whatever zip code you're in.
Gotcha.
So that's one way. For athletes in particular, there's a dietetic practice group called the SCAN, which is Sports Cardiovascular. Oh my gosh.
On the spot.
SCAN. It's called SCAN. SCANDPG.org. You can also find a dietitian within that group that specializes in sports or cardiovascular nutrition.
Gotcha.
So that's one way. That's like if you don't know anybody close to you, or you don't feel comfortable asking, a friend or your community. But that is another way, is asking someone in your community, asking, like where we live, the Chamber of Commerce is kind of like a resource for looking for businesses that specialize in certain things. So asking your Chamber of Commerce, asking medical doctors, because they usually have some referrals that are local, or if it's for a specialty practice, asking if you have a gastro issue, digestive issue, then you should go ask your gastroenterologist for a reference.
Gotcha.
So something like that. If you're looking on the internet, you have to look for those letters behind their name, which is their credentials. So RD stands for registered dietitian. Some of them are going to have LD also, which means licensed dietitian. It's not required in each state for a dietitian to have a license, only in certain states.
Gotcha.
And I believe more and more states are moving towards not requiring a license, which bothers me. I believe that we should all have licenses to practice, because you have to maintain that. So the other thing is they might have letters behind their name for their specialty. So kind of like CDE, Certified Diabetes Educator, behind their name, or CSSD, which is certified Certified Specialty in Sports Dietetics. That's a big one with athletes that they should look for, because they're the ones that are going to specialize and understand that. Let's see. Yeah, so do your research. If you're finding one on the internet, do your research. Google that person's name. Google where they worked, where it says they work. You have to verify all of these things when you're looking on the internet. Look at, I guess, if they have a website. If there's a dietitian on social media, and maybe that's her only avenue of information, that's great, but they should have some sort of other resource. They should be working somewhere. They should have a website, some other place where you can verify their identity and their credentials. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, those are good places to start, for sure.
Yes.
So, Ari, well, that takes care of the most important things. So now we can jump back to things that don't matter.
Okay.
So, what is something that you're learning or reading right now?
Okay. So I kind of base my reading and learning on what's going on in my life, or my family's life, or my kids, or if I have a friend or a client that asks me a specific question and I don't know it, I'm going to go research it. I'm really focused on gut health. So kind of looking at good bacteria, what depletes your body of the good bacteria, what promotes bad bacteria growth in intestines. I oh um, ways to help families cook, like learning how to cook or getting them to create shortcuts so that they can provide meals at home rather than just getting fast food every night. Because my kids are still young. They're 3 and 5, almost 4 and 6, but we're getting into that world of evening activities and just like going from one thing to the next. I'm going to be teaching at night, so I'm seeing the frustrations of that is they're just getting quick meals, or they're either eating a snack at home and then they're snacking and grazing the rest of the night because that's all they have access to.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of information can I put out there that will help them stay prepared?
Mm.
You know, get over all of the excuses. What can I say to kind of combat the barriers that they're experiencing?
Mm-hmm.
So another thing I'm kind of into is like business coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm following like a series of business coaching and seeing how I can get that information out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like what's the best way to get it out there? Because for the past few years, I've kind of been like anti social media, providing information that way because I really want to talk to the person, right? That's the best
Yeah.
way for me to figure that person out and what they need.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm getting more into it and seeing how I can prove my point without it being swayed by all these other programs out there.
Mm-hmm.
And keeping it simple too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one of the big things I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, that's one of the things from undergrad and grad school that I didn't really think that I would ever need to learn is how to run a business. Like
Yeah.
they don't teach you that, or they didn't teach me that anyway. So that's hard. It's hard to like learn how to sell and learn how to promote your own products and learn how to do everything on the back end and run a website. And I'm like, I'm learning how to do all that because you kind of have to in order to compete. So, in order to get your stuff out there, yeah. So, but it's very, very important for people who are just getting started in either the dietetics or kinesiology, ex-phys industry. Like, learn how to interact with people, for sure. That's the most important. But then you also have to learn how to have an online presence and interaction, because that's kind of the way that things, at least look to me, to be trending. So everything's there, everybody's there. So if you want them to be physically in front of you, you first kind of have to meet them, online. So
Right. Yes.
which is a chore sometimes, but
Yeah.
anyway. So speaking of which, how can people find you and follow you and reach out to you?
Okay. So I only have Facebook. I do have a website, but I do not have any other social media platforms yet for this business. So my website is www.honestnutrition.net. And then my email is on there, ways of contacting me. I do not put my phone number on there. So they have to email first to reach out to me on Facebook. Yeah, and I believe on Facebook, my username is Honest Nutrition LLC.
Gotcha.
Because there is another Honest Nutrition, and I think it's in Colorado. Yeah.
I bet they're not as honest as you.
They're not. Although they're in Colorado, so they have the legal.
Oh, they have access to certain things that you don't have access to?
Yeah. It might make you more honest.
Nice. That's hilarious. So, yeah, we'll have to discuss CBD at some point in the future to see if that's actually something worth people utilizing.
Topic. Yeah.
So, goodness. But anyway, so let's throw out a little concluder. So, what is a piece of advice or a quote or some important information that you think everyone listening needs to hear?
Okay. I've got a few quotes that I wrote down that I really like. But piece of advice, drink water. Drink water.
It's good advice.
Don't be afraid of carbohydrates. You got to live. LIVIN.
People are going to say you're a shill now for the carbohydrate industry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. They should pay me, right?
Yeah. When I get called a shill, I'm like, have you seen? I'm not living large. Like,
yeah. Right.
It doesn't pay well to be a shill.
No.
So.
So let's see. I wrote down a few of my favorite quotes. So, human beings do not eat nutrients; they eat food. Mary Catherine Bateson. One of the biggest ones I always post, and it's on my website. Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food. Everybody who said that. Socrates. Okay, this one's for motivation. When you really want something, you will find a way. When you don't really want something, you will find an excuse.
Wow.
That's Rachel Hollis, so author.
Yeah, I'm going to remember that one. That one's good.
Oh, yeah. It's a good one. Another good one from her is, a goal is a dream with its work boots on.
Nice.
Oh. Yeah. And then the last one I had was, success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. And that's Marie Forleo.
That's another good one.
Those are all of the ones that I kind of base everything I say on. I mean, that's what I believe. Don't make excuses. You know, be honest with yourself. That's a big one. And don't stop trying to make yourself better. You know? Yeah.
I think those are valuable words of advice, and I think everyone needs to take a little time and just take a moment to think about that. And I know I plan on doing that. Am I doing everything that I need to? And before I see my youth athletes this afternoon, I'm going to spend some time just thinking about some of those quotes. So Jessica, thank you so much for taking the time to come on here and share with us your dietetics wisdom and some funny interactions that you've had with people over the course of your career. So hopefully we'll get you on again in the future and we can discuss some more specific topics a little bit more in depth. But this was awesome. Again, thank you so much. So, alrighty, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in, and go follow Jessica right now and check out her website and do all that business. And if you have any questions for her, let her know. I'm sure she would love to interact with y'all a little bit. But stay tuned for the next episode of the Athlete Factors podcast, and have a good day.